No one is your friend. That statement may feel harsh, but let it settle. In the quiet corners of your soul, you know there's truth in it. Life teaches us through experience, not sentiment. People come, people go. Promises are made in the daylight and broken in the shadows. We walk through crowds, smile in company, share secrets with those we believe are allies, but at the end of it all, you are alone with your thoughts, your decisions, and your consequences. You were born alone, you will leave this world alone, and in between those 2 points is a journey that must be carried not with dependence, but with strength. Yes, people may cheer you on. Yes, some will encourage you. Some may love you. But no one will ever understand the weight of your calling, the intensity of your battles, the cost of your vision. Because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you. You must learn to build in silence. Let your dreams grow in the soil of secrecy. Let your hands work while your mouth says nothing. Let your plans unfold in the unseen. You do not need applause. You do not need approval. In fact, both can become distractions. The more you depend on validation, the more you weaken your foundation. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength under control. It is strategy. It is wisdom. It is protection. True strength is developed in isolation, not in dependence on others. This truth is often difficult to accept, especially in a world that teaches us to constantly seek connection, approval, and validation from others. But when life strips everything away, when the applause stops, when the friends fade, and when the room gets quiet, you are faced with the rawest version of yourself. It is in that place, where the noise disappears and the distractions are silenced, that true strength is forged. There is something sacred about solitude. It doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it reveals, and in that revealing, you begin to understand who you really are and what you're truly made of. When you rely too heavily on others for strength, you build your life on a foundation that is not your own. That kind of dependence creates emotional weakness, because every time people disappoint you, your strength shakes. Every time someone doesn't show up the way you expected, your confidence breaks. But when you begin to understand that the power to move forward, to heal, to build, and to rise lies within you, then the foundation of your strength begins to shift. It moves away from external support and becomes internal, immovable, unshakable. The most powerful people in history, the ones who changed the course of time and shaped generations, were not made in crowds. They were formed in the hidden places. They wrestled with their fears in the silence. They cried in rooms no one saw. They questioned their purpose, fought through doubts, and kept going when no one clapped for them. That inner war, that private battle, built muscles no one else could see. And by the time the world finally noticed them, they were already giants on the inside. You don't become strong by being carried. You become strong by walking through fire and not being consumed by it. Strength doesn't mean pretending to be okay. It means staying steady when everything in you wants to give up. It means speaking truth to yourself when no one else does. It means facing rejection, betrayal, and loss, and deciding not to let it define you. These moments don't happen in public. They happen in the quiet hours when it's just you and your thoughts. They happen when you choose discipline over comfort, when you silence your fear and move anyway, when you do what must be done even if no one ever says thank you. Isolation teaches responsibility. When no one is there to encourage you, you learn to encourage yourself. When no one reminds you of your worth, you remind yourself. You stop waiting for help, and you become the help. You stop asking for strength, and you become the strength. This is the turning point, where dependence dies and inner power is born. The kind of power that doesn't rise and fall with opinions. The kind that doesn't need a crowd to keep going. The kind that, once formed, nothing and no one can ever take from you. You said, expend second key point without any subheading and conclusion in 500 words. Silence is a strategic tool for growth, protection, and focus. In a world addicted to noise, where everyone is eager to broadcast their next move and seek immediate recognition. Choosing silence feels countercultural. Yet, it is in this very silence that some of the most powerful breakthroughs are born. Silence is not emptiness, it is alignment. It creates space where clarity rises, distractions dissolve, and your inner voice can finally be heard. It allows you to move with purpose rather than panic, intention rather than impulse. When you are constantly talking about your plans, your goals, your dreams, you open the door for unnecessary opinions, judgments, and sometimes even sabotage. Not everyone who hears your vision will understand it. Not everyone who hears your progress will celebrate it. And not everyone who appears to support you is truly for you. Silence acts as a shield. It keeps what's precious hidden until it's strong enough to withstand exposure. Just like a seed planted underground, growth happens in darkness before anything ever emerges into the light. The soil doesn't make noise, but it works, it nourishes, it prepares, and eventually, when the time is right, the sprout breaks through, fully formed, deeply rooted. Moreover, silence eliminates distraction. When you're not busy trying to impress, convince, or explain, you can actually focus. You can build with precision. You can sharpen your skills, refine your message, and develop your vision without the interference of public opinion. Every word spoken to the wrong person can delay you. Every unnecessary explanation can drain your energy. But when you stay quiet, you protect your focus. You channel all your energy into the work itself, and not the performance around it. In silence, you also learn to hear yourself. You separate your voice from the noise of the world. You stop living according to everyone else's expectations and start tuning into your own convictions. This is where true alignment happens. You begin to understand what matters to you, not because someone told you it should matter, but because you've sat with it, wrestled with it, and owned it. Silence trains you to be decisive, not dependent. It grows your confidence from the inside out. There is a reason why the strongest people often speak the least. They don't need to announce who they are. They let their results speak. They let their presence speak. And they understand that premature exposure can lead to premature failure. Not everything should be shared. Some things should be guarded, preserved, and protected until the right season arrives. Silence is not absence. It is presence without noise. It is movement without announcement. And those who master it move further than those who constantly seek attention. The quiet path may be lonely, but it is effective. It builds something lasting, something real. People's intentions don't always align with your calling. It's a hard lesson, but a necessary one. You can love someone, admire them, and even trust them, yet they still might not be equipped to walk with you into the deepest parts of your purpose. This isn't because they are bad or malicious. It's because your calling wasn't given to them. It was given to you, and only you can carry the full weight of it. The moment you begin expecting others to understand the depth of your vision is the moment you begin to open yourself to unnecessary disappointment. There are moments when you will be tempted to share your heart with someone simply because they are close. But closeness doesn't equal clarity. Some people walk with you, but still can't see you. They see your outer movements, your public choices, your visible efforts, but they don't feel the weight you carry when the lights are off and no one's watching. That weight belongs to you. And when you share your dreams or your plans with those who lack the capacity to handle them, you may face responses that bruise more than bless. Doubt disguised as concern, subtle jealousy masked as advice, or even silence that communicates indifference. All these reactions can pierce the spirit if you're not prepared. People often respond based on their own limitations. If they couldn't dare to believe for themselves, they'll have trouble believing for you. If they never saw it done, they may not be able to imagine you doing it. And if their hearts are weighed down by insecurity or comparison, your elevation may quietly disturb them. That's why discernment is critical. Not everyone is supposed to walk with you into your next season. Some were only meant for a chapter, not the whole story. Holding on to people out of loyalty can cost you your clarity. Your calling will require you to make decisions that others don't understand. You may walk away from comfort, from predictability, from what is expected of you. And when you do, people will question your logic, your timing, even your sanity. But they don't have to understand your why. You do. You are the steward of your purpose. No one else has been given your vision, your anointing, or your timeline. So it's no surprise when others don't see what you see. Even those with good intentions can become obstacles if you place your trust in them above your own inner knowing. That's why your confidence must come from within, not from the approval of others. Let their support be a bonus, not a necessity. Learn to smile when they cheer for you and still move forward when they don't. Protect your purpose from misplaced dependence. Listen carefully to reactions, not just words. How people respond to your growth tells you everything you need to know about whether they're meant to go with you. Not everyone can handle your calling, and that's okay. They weren't meant to. Seeking validation weakens the foundation of your dreams. When your efforts are built on the need to be seen, liked, or applauded, you unknowingly create a fragile structure, one that can be shaken by silence, criticism, or even simple indifference. The danger in craving validation is that it shifts your focus from purpose to performance. Instead of asking, "Is this what I'm meant to do?" you begin to ask, "Will they approve of me?" That single shift is where many visions die, not because they weren't powerful, but because they were watered down to please the crowd. Validation is a seductive force. It feels good to be noticed. It feels rewarding to be celebrated. But the applause of people is temporary, unpredictable, and shallow. One moment they praise you, the next they forget you. If your confidence is built on their opinions, then your confidence will rise and fall with every comment, every like, every reaction. And sooner or later, you'll find yourself changing who you are just to stay in favor with others. You'll compromise your voice. You'll delay your calling. You'll shrink your vision to fit their comfort zones. In the process, you'll lose the fire that made your dream worth chasing in the first place. Building a life of impact requires that you stop needing people to understand your every move. You must learn to move in silence, to create without validation, and to pursue your calling even when it goes unnoticed. Greatness is often hidden at first, not because it's not real, but because it's still forming. A seed doesn't seek applause while it's growing underground. It just keeps growing. It doesn't look for signs of approval from the soil. It trusts the process, knowing that eventually the results will speak for themselves. When you let go of the need to be validated, something shifts in you. You stop performing and start becoming. You stop chasing people's attention and start chasing your purpose. You begin to trust your own inner voice more than the echo of the crowd. And that's where true confidence is born, not in being told you're great, but in knowing you're walking in truth even if no one sees it. There will be times when people misunderstand you, times when you're doing exactly what you're called to do, and still they criticize. There will be days when you've given your all, and no one claps, and it's in those moments that you discover what you're really made of. Will you keep going, even when no one cheers? Will you keep building, even when no one believes? That's the test. That's where real foundations are formed. You must become so grounded in your purpose that no amount of external silence can shake your internal resolve. When you reach that place, you become unstoppable, because now your dream is no longer a performance. It's your truth. And truth doesn't need validation. It just needs courage. Isolation refines purpose, character, and resilience. It strips away the noise, the distractions, the opinions, and the illusions. In the stillness of being alone, you are forced to confront your deepest thoughts, your hidden fears, and the raw truth about who you really are. There is no audience to impress in isolation, no applause to chase, no expectations to meet. Just you, your reality, and the silence. And it's in that sacred space that transformation begins. When you're surrounded by others, it's easy to adapt, to blend in, to become what they expect of you. But in solitude, all that fades, the masks come off, the layers peel back. You discover what you actually believe, what you truly want, and what you're really willing to fight for. Purpose doesn't form in the spotlight, it forms in the quiet that feels uncomfortable, even painful at times. The quiet that demands honesty, because when you're isolated, there's nowhere to run and no one else to blame. You are left with the one person who has the power to change your life, yourself. Isolation sharpens your character. It teaches you discipline when no one is watching. It teaches you patience when progress feels slow. It teaches you humility, because in solitude, you're reminded that you're not above the process. You learn to work without being seen, to sacrifice without being praised, and to persist without being pushed. These moments, though invisible to others, are the very moments that shape you into someone unshakable. You learn that consistency is not for applause, it's for growth. You begin to build your identity on inner values, not outer feedback. And then there's resilience. In isolation, your resilience is tested and strengthened like never before. You cry, but you keep going. You feel afraid, but you take the next step. You face setbacks, delays, and moments of complete uncertainty, yet you rise again. That's what isolation does. It breaks what's weak and builds what's strong. It creates a version of you that can no longer be broken by rejection, failure, or abandonment, because you've been there before alone, and you made it through. So the next time the world turns its back, you won't fall apart. You'll just keep moving because you've already learned how to walk alone. Isolation is not a punishment. It's a preparation. It's the training ground where warriors are made. The world may overlook you now, but isolation is preparing you for the stage you haven't stepped on yet. It's refining your voice, your thoughts, your habits, your strength. And when the time comes to emerge, you won't be stepping out unprepared. You'll be stepping out refined, anchored in purpose, molded by pressure, and built to endure. Because everything you went through in the silence became the foundation of who you are. And that foundation cannot be shaken. Walking alone is not failure, it's formation. Society often paints solitude as a sign of weakness or isolation, as something to be ashamed of, but nothing could be further from the truth. The journey of becoming who you're meant to be often requires walking paths no one else can walk with you. It requires decisions no one else can make for you, sacrifices no one else will understand, and battles no one else will fight. It is in these seasons of solitude that your identity is shaped not by the voices around you, but by the voice within you. When you walk alone, you start to see things differently. Without the pressure to fit in, you begin to rediscover your own values. You make choices because they're right for you, not because they're popular. You pursue goals that align with your purpose, not ones that win you attention. You move at your own pace, grounded in your own rhythm. There is a freedom in this aloneness, not loneliness, but independence. And in that freedom, you begin to realize you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you ever gave yourself credit for. There is a deep clarity that comes when you detach from the crowd. You begin to hear your thoughts without interruption. You begin to recognize what drives you, what excites you, and what burdens you. Without constant noise, you learn to separate truth from illusion. You can no longer rely on others to motivate you, so you find your own fire. You can no longer lean on others to push you, so you become your own force. That's not failure, that's empowerment. That's becoming whole. Many people miss their break, through simply because they fear walking alone. They stay in places they've outgrown. They cling to people who dilute their potential. They silence their own voice so they can keep being accepted. But progress requires separation. Elevation requires solitude. When eagles are ready to fly higher, they leave the flock. They soar above the noise, above the comfort, and above the crowd, not because they're better, but because they're built for more. And so are you. The most defining seasons of your life will likely be the loneliest, but they will also be the most transformative. They will stretch you, test you, and force you to rise without applause. You will grow in silence, but that growth will speak loudly in due time. You will build quietly, but the strength formed in private will be undeniable in public. What looks like isolation to the world is really formation behind the scenes. It is the silent process that prepares you for visible purpose. So when you find yourself walking alone, don't despair. Don't look for shortcuts to bring others along. Don't slow down just to feel company. Embrace the silence. Embrace the path, because the person you are becoming is worth every lonely step. What feels like distance from others is actually alignment with your destiny. Keep walking. The path may be narrow, but it leads somewhere extraordinary. The journey of becoming your true self is not paved with crowds, applause, or constant companionship. It's carved in silence, shaped in solitude, and strengthened by walking alone. When you stop expecting others to understand your vision, when you stop seeking validation, when you learn to trust the process of building in the unseen, you begin to unlock a version of yourself that is unshakable. Not everyone will walk with you, and that's by design. Your calling is too specific, too sacred, and too weighty to be carried by just anyone. So let go of the need for approval. Let go of the fear of being misunderstood. Let go of the false comfort that comes from shallow friendships and noisy praise. Instead, embrace the silence. Embrace the discipline. Embrace the refining. In that place, you are not failing, you are forming. You are becoming, you are rising. And when the time is right, what was built in silence will speak louder than anything you could ever say. Keep walking, even if no one claps. Keep building, even if no one sees. Because you were never meant to be defined by others. You were meant to be discovered in the silence.